wondering why they invited a middle schooler to speak in a room full of teachers, principals, and pretty much every other adult in the school district. Honestly, I'm still wondering the same thing. Usually I'm the one listening to you guys do the talking, not the other way around. But before I get started, I do have one question. If any of my teachers are here today, does this count as extra credit? I feel like speaking in front of the entire school district should be worth something. Before I tell you why I'm here, I should probably tell you a little bit about me. I'm 13 years old and I have a condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, or called OI. It basically means my bones break really easy. So far, I've had 148 broken bones and 31 surgeries. I can walk, but I mostly use a wheelchair, especially for longer distances and when my bones are healing. One of my absolute favorite things in the world is basketball. I play wheelchair basketball and I love it. Basketball has always been a big part of my family too. My older sister Kinsley was playing varsity basketball at Rigby High School for 4 years, and now is going to play at the University of Alaska Anchorage. And for those 4 years, I kind of decided I was a part of the team too. I got to be down on the court, do handshakes with the girls, and cheer them on. It actually brings me to the reason I'm here today. Earlier this year, I was at the state girls basketball tournament watching my sister play. It was her senior year. It was her last state tournament. At the beginning of the first game, I did the handshakes with the team like I always did. Then I hopped out of my wheelchair and I started walking up the bleachers. I had only made it up a couple of steps when suddenly I felt the dreaded pop. After 148 fractures, unfortunately, I know that feeling pretty well. My femur had broken, and the game had literally just started. For most people, walking up a couple of bleacher steps isn't actually considered a dangerous activity. For me, apparently it is. If you've ever broken a femur before, I don't recommend it. Breaking a femur is one of the most painful injuries you can have, and I can definitely confirm that. Everyone around me was scared, trying to figure out what we needed to do, and I was in a lot of pain. But one thing I've learned after 148 fractures is this. I can't always control what happens to me, but I can control what I do next. I tried to stay calm. I tried to reassure everyone. I wanted them to know that I was going to be okay. And one other thing I knew, I wasn't leaving that state tournament unless I absolutely had to. It was my sister's senior year. It was her last state tournament, and I had spent years sitting by that court and cheering for her team. A broken femur wasn't changing that. So I stayed. I watched the whole game, and I came back to every game after that too. I was hurting, but I wanted to be there for Kinsley and the team. My plans had changed, but that didn't mean everything had to change with it. What I didn't know was that our superintendent was there that day, and he saw what happened, and apparently he was paying pretty close attention to how I handled it. I definitely wasn't lying there thinking, I better handle this really well or it might turn into a speaking opportunity. If I had known that, I might have cried a little bit more dramatically. Later, he asked me to come speak to all of you how I stay positive when hard things happen. But that made me start to think. Because the truth is, I don't wake up every morning and think, today I'm going to be inspirational. I just wake up and live my life. And I'm definitely not positive every second of the day. I've cried over broken bones, I've been scared over surgeries, I've been angry, I've been frustrated. I've missed things I've looked forward to for months, because 1 second changed everything. And there's definitely been times when I thought, seriously, again? So, when I talk about staying positive, I don't mean pretending everything's great when it isn't. You're allowed to be sad, you're allowed to be scared, you're allowed to have a bad day. What I've learned is you just can't let that one bad day convince you that you have a bad life. There are 4 things that have helped me remember that. First, I I can't always choose what happens to me, but I can choose what I do next. I didn't choose to have a why, and I definitely don't choose when my bones break. But spending all this time thinking about what I can't do doesn't get me anywhere. So I focus on what I can do. And one of those things is wheelchair basketball. When I'm in my basketball chair, I'm not thinking about everything that makes me different. I'm thinking about making the next shot. I'm thinking about defense. I'm probably thinking about winning. And probably how annoyed I am if the ref makes a bad call. Basketball has taught me that life doesn't always have to look exactly the way you pictured it. But different doesn't automatically mean worse. Sometimes you just have to find a different way to do the things you love. Second, it's okay to have a bad day. Last November, I was supposed to play in one of my wheelchair basketball tournaments I had looked forward to almost all year. It was in Utah, so most of my family was going to be able to come watch me play, and it was right after my birthday. The day after my birthday, I walked outside, stepped down one step, and that was it. I had broken my femur. Apparently, stairs and I have a complicated relationship. Just like that, I couldn't play. I was devastated. I cried, I was angry, and I thought things were completely unfair. Sometimes you need to be sad, but eventually, you have a choice. You can let that one hard thing convince you that everything in your life is bad. Or you can go looking for what is still good. The broken femur didn't erase my family, it didn't erase my friends or my teammates, and it definitely didn't mean I would never play basketball again. Just for a while, my plans had changed. A bad day isn't the same thing as a bad life. Third, sometimes the best way to get through your own hard thing is to look outside of yourself. I think this is what our superintendent noticed at the state tournament when I broke my femur. Everyone around me was worried. And after a lot of broken bones, I've learned that when everybody starts panicking, it doesn't exactly help. So I try to stay calm, I try to joke, I try to reassure people, and sometimes helping everyone else feel a little less scared actually helps me feel better too. And I think the people in this room understand that better than most. Your jobs are basically about helping others. You spend your days taking care of students, solving problems, answering questions, teaching, encouraging, listening, helping, and noticing who needs you. But I also know that just because you work in a school doesn't mean your own life stops being hard. You have families, you have worries, you have disappointments. And you might have things that your students may know nothing about. Some mornings you probably walk through those school doors carrying something really heavy from your own life. And then a student walks in who needs you. And somehow you help us anyway. You leave some of your own hard things at the door for just a little while to help us carry ours. As a student, I want you to know, we may not always say it, but we know this. Fourth, one person can completely change someone's hard day. I know that because I have people at school that have done that for me. One of the best examples is the office staff at Farnsworth. I got to be an office aide, so I spent quite a bit of time with them, and they became some of my favorite people in the school. Every time I go into that office, they make me feel like I'm $1,000,000. They're excited to see me, they ask me how I'm doing, and they give me hugs. And they make me feel like they're genuinely happy that I rolled through that door. And that means more to me than they probably realize, because even though I try really hard not to let OI stop me, sometimes school is hard. Sometimes other kids are running around or doing something I can't safely participate in. And sometimes I feel left out. On those days, sometimes I'll just go to the office because I know there are people in there who are always happy to see me. For a few minutes, I'm not thinking about what everyone else can do that I can't. I'm just with the people that make me feel like I matter. And that's something I want all of you to understand. The little things you do for students aren't always little to us. Sometimes it's a teacher who helps you catch up after you've missed school. Sometimes it's a secretary who knows your name. Sometimes it's an aide who quietly makes something easier. And sometimes it's simply someone who smiles at you on a day that you really need smiled at. You might do something for a student that feels like absolutely nothing to you. You might forget about it 5 minutes later. But that student might remember it for years. The people in the Farnsworth office probably don't remember every time they hugged me or they told me they were happy to see me. But I remember how they make me feel. And sometimes you might go home wondering if you did anything that day that really mattered. I'm a student here standing here telling you, it does. After 148 broken bones, that's a lot of things that have literally broken in my life. If there's one thing that all of those fractures have taught me, it's this. Being strong doesn't mean nothing can break you. Sometimes plans do break. Sometimes hearts do break. Sometimes things do break. And sometimes life looks completely different than you thought it would. Being strong is deciding that even when something breaks, you're going to keep finding reasons to get back up. And I definitely haven't done that by myself. I had my family, my coaches, my teammates, my friends, and so many people at the school trying to help me get back up. So, as another school year starts, I hope you remember that you have no idea the kids sitting in your classroom, walking through your hallway, riding your bus, sitting in your office, or playing on your team might be carrying. They probably won't remember every assignment. They probably won't remember every test. But they will remember the person who noticed them. The person who believed in them. The person who made them feel like that made a hard day just a little bit better. And I hope you remember something else too. While you're busy helping all of us through our hard days, give yourself permission to have hard days too. You don't have to pretend everything is okay when it isn't. You can be sad and still have hope. You can be scared and still be brave. You can have a really hard day and still find something good in it. I've learned that lesson 148 times. A hard moment can be a part of your story, but it doesn't have to be your whole story. Thank you. And seriously, will someone please tell my teachers about the extra credit?